guys, welcome back YouTube family, and we're back with another Oversimplified World War One reaction. I almost said World War Two, World War One reaction. So this is part two. I just finished part one, so without saying much, let's get into this one.
With both sides stuck in a hard stalemate, they knew this war wasn't going to be about taking territory, but about simply wearing each other down. The Allies had plenty of men to expand from.
These men are still in the trenches.
Its overseas dominions. And the British also started a naval blockade, so Germany couldn't import stuff, like food. Neither side really wanted a long, grueling war, though, so they both thought of ways to break the deadlock on the Western Front. Idea number one, new frontiers. When the war first broke out, Australia was quick to take German New Guinea. The Allies also quickly jumped on Germany's colonies in Africa, and particularly in German East Africa, locals were enlisted as soldiers and carriers by both sides.
Oh my god, thank God Nigeria was spared from all this.
Some new combatants entered the war as well. The Allies' new friends were Italy and Japan. Japan was busy building a...
Japan was on the Allied side and Italy. Okay, yeah, I remember Italy switched sides, but Japan was on the Allied side. Ironic.
So it was more than happy to take away German islands and colonies in East Asia. Italy actually had an alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary before the war, but after some tense relations, and then the Allies promising to give them some of Austria-Hungary's stuff, they switched sides. Italy opened up a front here, but like everyone else, they were stuck in stalemate for most of the war. The Central Powers' new friend was a struggling empire in the Middle East. The Ottoman were divided on whether to actually join the war or not, since they had been exhausted by the recent Balkan Wars. Some of the politicians who did want to join went off on their own and fired some shells at Russia, and then came back and said, whoops, looks like we're at war now. The Ottoman entry into the war was of particular concern to the British, since the Middle East was full of oil, and Britain wanted all of that oil. First,
why are they always after oil? Well, they probably want to, use it for like their weapons and their new technological developed machines or stuff. But why do they go through such lengths to get oil, even if it means sacrificing their men to secure that land with oil?
To attack Russia in the Caucasus Mountains, but they weren't prepared for the cold, and many of them froze to death. Then they crossed miles of desert to take the Suez Canal from the British, but that failed too. Then the Allies tried to take the Dardanelles at Gallipoli in a long and hard trench warfare campaign.
Another trench war.
The Ottomans blamed their initial losses on the ethnic Armenians living within Ottoman territory, and the resulting Armenian genocide led to the deaths of 1.5 million people.
The Armenian genocide. Why do they always blame, just like Germany in World War II, why do they always blame another minority group when they lose something? Like you are in the majority. I know it's easy to just blame the minority, but why? Why do you do that? What? I don't know. I still don't, until today, I still don't see any reason. I've thought about it a lot, and in World War II, whenever I listen to why Germany blamed Jewish people for things that happened, or why the Ottoman blamed the Armenians, I just can't bring my head to it. Like, why blame them for that? Is that enough to blame anyone? Anyway, back to this video.
Afghanistan to try to convince the Arab tribes there to rise up in jihad against the British and attack India. But that plan failed, partly because the spies got bored, brewed their own alcohol, and got drunk, which is a bad thing to do in Afghanistan. All these new frontiers
It's a Muslim territory. Why are you drinking alcohol?
Aware that the Allies had more men and supplies than them, the Germans knew they had to do something to break the stalemate. Before the war, there was a big conference that set out the rules of modern warfare. No chemical weapons, no killing civilians. Basically, don't be jerks. The Germans held a meeting and decided to be jerks. Zeppelin air raids commenced over British cities. They also started attacking the Allied trenches with chlorine gas.
They did still kill civilians.
One such civilian ship was the Lusitania, which had 159 Americans on board when it was sunk, further swaying U.S. opinion against the Germans. Not to be completely unfair to the Germans, the Allies also engaged in chemical warfare soon after, and they had been hiding anti-submarine weapons on their civilian ships, which let the Germans justify their attacks. Meanwhile, Austria-Hungary still hadn't dealt with Serbia, so the Central Powers enlisted some help. Bulgaria wished it was bigger and was still bitter about losing the Second Balkan War. The Central Powers promised to make all of Bulgaria's wildest dreams come true if they helped, so they signed on, and together they knocked out Serbia. The Serbian troops retreated through Albania, which
Everyone
was
wants
neutral
more
but had
land.
some ties to Austria-Hungary. So Austria-Hungary entered Albania in a friendly invasion to chase down the Serbians.
Friendly invasion? How?
It's 1916, and a lot is happening. As if they didn't have enough enemies already, Germany added one more to the list. Portugal had been getting a bit chummy with the Allies behind the scenes, and Germany didn't like that one bit. Around the same time, the only sea battle of the war happened. Both sides had a new powerful class of battleships called dreadnoughts, but they were so expensive to build that neither side wanted to risk losing them in a battle, so they kept them in port, except for one time when they had a big fight and a bunch of them got damaged, so they didn't try that again.
So those expensive ships, just one battle.
So they had plenty of reserves, which is just as well because the Western Front was about to get brutal. The longest and one of the bloodiest battles of the war started when the Germans launched an attack around the French city of Verdun. The French defended it desperately, leading to hundreds of thousands of casualties. Under pressure, the French called on its allies to do something to draw the Germans' attention away. So the British started their own long and brutal fight, the Battle of the Somme.
And you see, the war started with the whole Austria-Hungary problem, and it was basically Germany that was doing the most in World War I also.
British casualties on just the first day. It was also here that the British first used one crazy brand new piece of sci-fi technology.
Tanks.
The Russians had been getting pushed back further and further into their own territory, but in response to the French call for help, they began a huge offensive, and did really well until they ran out of supplies and got stuck. Seeing how well the Russians had been doing, Romania decided now would be a great time to jump in and win the war.
Now you're joining?
The Greeks were fighting amongst themselves about whether to join the war or not. The king liked the Central Powers, while the Prime Minister wanted to join the Allies. After a brief national schism, during which the country split into two, the king finally abdicated and the country reunited. With Allied help, they began a new offensive. In the Middle East, Russia was pushing into Ottoman territory from the north. The British had also made a landing in Mesopotamia to protect Persia's oil fields. And they also sent a swarm
oil
up the
fields
Tigris
again.
River to try to take Baghdad. But the army got sieged in the town of Kut along the way, and eventually surrendered. A new offensive was launched from the south with all-out desert warfare. The offensive was aided by one famous British officer, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, who helped lead the Arab tribes.
Did he really dress like that?
On the Ottoman supply line. By the time 1917 rolled around, everyone was exhausted. There were mutinies in the French army, the German populace was starving, and the war had drained all of Russia's supply. The only question now was, who was going to break first? And the answer was Russia. Tired of not eating and mad that a
Why wouldn't you be tired?
was calling some of the shots, there was
That's
an uprising
Putin.
in Petrograd, complete with
Read
riots
about
and
him.
strikes. The riots turned into a full-scale revolution, and a new government overthrew the Tsar. Then a few months later, the Bolsheviks...
I'm guessing that's the Russian Revolution.
And Russia out of the war.
Communism and all.
Germany, who now only had to focus on the Western Front. But there was still one problem. The pesky United States of America was looking increasingly like it was going to join the war. America had been selling supplies.
Why is America always joining late in these wars?
And was getting super rich off the back of it, meaning it was in fantastic shape and was dangerous to the Germans. So Germany sent a telegram to Mexico saying, wouldn't it be crazy cool if you guys attacked America? But the British intercepted the message, showed it to the Americans.
Bad idea.
The final straw. American troops began shipping out to Europe. This was terrible news for Germany, and they knew their only hope now was to force France
Why would you do that?
to surrender before the fresh American troops arrived. It was now or never, so they started one final attack. They converged their troops and hit hard at the Somme and pushed the Allies back. They hit a second time further north, then again and again. With each hit, the Germans were spending more and more resources, while the Allies were getting better and better at repelling their attacks. By the fifth punch, the Allies held the line.
Basically ran out of
With
resources.
American troops now arriving in larger numbers, the Allies launched a counterattack, and that was it.
Just
Central
give up.
powers were being pushed back on all fronts. Bulgaria collapsed first, followed by the Ottoman Empire, then Austria-Hungary, and finally on November 11, 1918, at 11 o'clock, Germany surrendered. At the peace treaty, Germany was forced to reduce its military, accept war guilt, and pay the bill for the war. After indescribable suffering and millions dead, the world learned its lesson and never had such an awful war again.
Ha! I don't think so.
20 years.
2 decades later, they never really accepted the war guilt. It was more like war anger after the war. Everyone just got angry. Wow. So, okay. I definitely know more about World War I now. It's kind of it just seems like unresolved issues. If you look at the end, the later parts of World War I, with the whole getting Germany to accept war guilt and demilitarize or give up some members of its army, that only made Germany angry. And I don't know why I keep bringing Germany into this, but I can't, because I can't actually not bring them in, because that just leads into the next war, and we can't really talk about World War I without bringing in World War II. That's the thing. They're kind of like interlinked, because without the results of World War I, I don't know if it would I don't know if World War II would have taken the course that it did. So I'm sorry if I have to keep bringing up World War II, but I know these problems were what made Germany angry, and then with everything with the whole economy and whatever, another war had to be born. But I definitely understand the events that led to that. The whole idea of the trenches and keeping men, millions of men, locked up inside not locked up, hold up inside trenches. It's just, I've seen it in movies, but even then I thought it was a really dumb. What? I guess if I was a soldier, I would have to. But if I were to be reasonable, why would I listen to my commander who tells me to get into a hole? Imagine if you are in these trenches, you are fully kitted, and then it starts to rain. Some people are scared of being in like holes and things like that. Imagine if you're in these trenches and it starts to rain and you have to sleep there without, you can't leave, you can't break formation. Cold, wet, your wet clothes stay on you. The sun comes up and the clothes dry up on your body again. No, that would mentally shake me. There's no way these men would even be normal after that. But anyway, I guess that's war, and I'm happy I was born at a time when, well, there are still wars, but not in the grand scale of the past wars. And I hope there is no such war for the rest of my life and the rest of my generation's lives. Like, please, no more wars. So I'm glad. I'm glad about the time that I was born. If I was born 70 years ago, no, no. So anyway, guys, thank you for sticking out with me again. And I'm finally done with World War I, so we can move to other oversimplified videos. Please like this video, subscribe if you're new, drop comments or send emails. My email is in the description. Just any video you want me to react. I do general reactions. I react to anything. So just send videos, not just oversimplified, any other video that you want me to react, and I will see you in the next video. So take care, guys. Bye.